It's official. Julian Sayin is Ohio State's QB1.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, that's your sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And during this Buckeye Blitz, we will discuss what is at the top of Sayin's to-do list, as he is now holding the title of QB1. But first, Ryan Day has seen everything he's needed to see to name a starting quarterback for Ohio State in 2025. Julian Sayin, his path to Ohio State was very unique, where he transferred before his freshman season to Columbus. And last year, he got to learn a lot from Will Howard and Devin Brown as he was a youngster trying to figure out college football. Now it is his time to compete for the starting job, and he won a very close battle where Lincoln Kienholz was an Iron Buckeye, and he was someone that took necessary steps on the field to be a legit person to consider to be the starting quarterback this year. But Sayin, he took the title. He has a better command of the offense. He has been more consistent. He has taken all the necessary steps in his progression this offseason to earn the title of QB1. For Ohio State, this is the right move. Not only the timing of when you're naming a starting quarterback, but also the person himself. You want a quarterback that has some intangibles that you can't teach. The ability for Sayin to process in the way that he does is something that a lot of players would love to have. His ability to make all the throws in his super special quick release, it's wild to see, but it's going to be even more fun to watch every single Saturday in the fall. For Sayin, he's already made some connections with the receivers he's going to throw to, and I'm sure him and Max Clare, that's going to be his security blanket on the field, but they're elite weapons all over the field. He has just had to figure out how to use them. And while he's figured out how to use them, he's earned a very prestigious title. And that's one that is going to come with a big red X on his back, because everybody in a mama knows X marks the spot. And Ryan Day is not shied away from the reality that being a starting quarterback at Ohio State, it doesn't get much better than that. And for Julian Sayin to be the starting quarterback, while you are the favorite all year, you had to go out there and earn it. You couldn't just lean on your 5-star rating coming out of high school, or what a lot of people that are covering the sport have been saying about you all offseason. You got to put in the work. You have to make sure that you figure out how to get into a rhythm with the offense, and how to sustain said rhythm, or how to overcome throwing an interception, or how to quickly get the ball out when there is someone pressing down on you from your backside. You got to figure out how to run an offense in college, because it's not high school anymore. The speed is different. The players are bigger, faster, stronger. Also, there are some pretty lofty expectations at Ohio State that you don't see anywhere else in the country. The expectations at Ohio State are very unique for the Buckeyes. Sayin understands the task at hand. He also realizes this is his time to shine. Now, this move for the Buckeyes, the timing, great. Get back out on the practice field, stay with the ones, and go out there and pursue and push for Ohio State to attack another national championship. Because not only is he the right guy for the job, but he gives the Buckeyes the best opportunity to attack another natty. What we saw last year from Ohio State was great, because Will Howard was not your typical Ohio State quarterback under Ryan Day, where you're just a straight, pure pocket passer. No, Will Howard, 6'4", about 240 pounds, can run like a deer, but also he also got a stronger arm, and he became a more accurate quarterback under Ryan Day's coaching. And for Sayin, he doesn't have the height nor the frame that Will Howard has, but he can be a very accurate passer. He can show off the arm strength, the arm talent, but also he can show off his intangibles, similar to what Will Howard did a year ago, that will show up in big ways on the field. I expect Ohio State to have a more up-tempo offense this year than they had a year ago. One thing I noticed a year ago when it came to Ohio State's up-tempo offense that helped Will Howard, it was that he wasn't really thinking. He wasn't contemplating a lot of thoughts. No, he was just going out there and playing the football. Once they turned up the intensity and turned up the pace. You saw the Buckeyes offense flow. The drives had less plays. There was less time of possession, but the Buckeyes are putting up more points. And I think for Sayin, that's going to help him this year. Being a first-time starting quarterback, if you are literally going back in the huddle over and over and over again, that can mess up your mentals. That may cause you to need to be picked up by the guys in the huddle because you are getting down on yourself. I think Sayin is the type of quarterback that'll flourish with an up-tempo offense. And for Ohio State moving forward, keep that same energy. Don't allow what we got last year in the playoff push to go away and to go back to huddling after every play. Moving a little bit slower to save the bodies of the players. No. Do what is best for your quarterback and the offense, which is what I believe is best for the team, which is moving with an up-tempo offense. What is at the top of Sayin's to-do list now that he is Ohio State's QB1? I'll answer that question next. This episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. When I'm on top of my hydration, I notice everything works better. My energy, my mood, my focus, even my skin. But getting enough fluids every day isn't always easy. That's why I've been loving Drip Drop. Drip Drop is doctor developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses a perfect balance of sodium, electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use promo code Locked On College. That's dripdrop.com. Promo code Locked On College for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day, and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Thank you all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this bonus episode a part of your day. If you missed a daily pod today discussing Sonny Styles being the Block O jersey recipient this year, the 4 captains for 2025, as well as a few players that recently lost their black stripes, definitely go check that out. Subscribe on the YouTube, as well as wherever you get your fine podcasts to check out Monday's pod. Speaking of checking things out, there are some things that Julian Sayin needs to check off his to-do list, and one of them is ramping up his own progression and preparation for the year to get ready for the Texas Longhorns. Because if there's any team out there that is going to come in hungry to fight and to scratch and to claw, week 1 in the year, it is Texas. Texas still has a taste in their mouth regarding what happened last year in the Cotton Bowl, where they are down 7 points, 21-14, final few minutes of the game of regulation, where Texas is driving. They get down to the goal line. It's a goal-to-goal situation. 4th and down, 1st down, 2nd, 3rd. On 4th down, a scoop and score. Sawyer goes 83 yards on the right sideline to pay dirt. Buckeyes go up 14 points on the next time when Texas gets the ball back. Caleb Downs gets an interception. Game is over. And Texas remembers that. Arch Manning also remembers his short stint in the game that day in the Cotton Bowl. And what happened? Homie got popped. But I think he's a better quarterback right now. You know who I also think is a better quarterback right now? Julian Sayin. And Sayin must ramp everything up now. Well, Jeremiah Smith said over the weekend when he was at his own meet and greet event at Dick's Sporting Goods discussing with the media, so things with the offense, the questions that he's been answering all offseason now, one of them was very important in regards to the rhythm. And he said, well, Ohio State's able to get a rhythm with both Lincoln and Sayin. That's great. That is huge. But you got to figure out how to get into a quick rhythm with the QB1. Here's the one thing. We may touch on this later on in the week, more in a longer form conversation. I hope Ryan Day does not go into that game against Texas planning to play two quarterbacks, because for a first-time starting quarterback, you don't want to make a mistake and constantly think, man, this is what's going to get me pulled, or be afraid to make a mistake because you know one mistake and you're going to be gone. You don't want to have that mindset. And so if Ryan Day is currently planning to use two quarterbacks, that's going to mess up Sayin's head in a big way. I don't think that would be wise. I don't think that would be smart. I think it would do more damage than being a beneficial move for Ryan Day to make. Play just one guy. But it also goes back to the up-tempo offense that we spoke about earlier. While Sayin's getting ready for Texas, there's going to be film study. There's going to be coaches' meetings. There's going to be figuring out what Hartline wants from the offense. There's going to be a lot of big questions going into that game against Texas. I think Sayin can get the job done, but he also has to realize you got to lean on your buddies, lean on your brothers, the guys up front on the offensive line. As that unit is going to be locked down and solidified soon, you got to lean on them. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And allow your play to lean into their strong points and to go away from the areas that they need to work on. Also, the run game. Well, with all the stuff we're saying, people talking about their arm strength and the ability to make all the throws. Let's not forget, Sayin cannot excel without a strong run game. So how can Sayin allow the run game to help him and the offense be successful and to get into a rhythm? These are all things that Sayin needs to work on now. And I think he's been working on them in the offseason during training camp. But if Texas preparation ramps up now during the official first week of the season, that is great. But you got to go in overdrive. You got to go a little bit more, go a little bit deeper, do a little bit more film study, ask a few more questions, get up to speed now. Because that game, week one, it's a lot riding on your shoulders. Not only is it Ohio State's first game after winning the national championship, you are Ohio State's QB1. And it doesn't get much better than being the starting quarterback at the Ohio State University. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your take a listen, check out Locked On College Football, because Spencer McLaughlin is the man with the plan to get you ready for the upcoming season and prepare for week 0 in the 2025 season. You can follow Locked On College Football and Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. It says on Locked On Buckeyes on a Monday. We'll see you next time.